What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Off the Ball podcast with me, your host, Chris LeBron, and we on the Nothing But Net radio channel on Dash Radio. And I got a special guest with me today. Pleasure to have him on the show today. Going to be a real dope conversation. I got Andre Armstrong, professional hooper and Coppin State legend. What's going on, my man?
Going on, bro? I appreciate you for having me, man.
Yeah. So I'm like I said, excited to have you on the show. Going to be fun to just chop it up. Talk about your journey. To being a professional and all that. And so, first of all, how you doing, man? How have you handled this crazy ass year this year?
Yeah, this year was definitely a little different. I just been working out every day. Like the Gauchos, I go every morning.
Yeah.
Work out with Coach Book, BG, a couple guys they there every morning. So I'm getting pro workout right now till I figure out where I want to finish the season out. Got a little late start to the season this year because of COVID, but just working out, grinding every day. I'm taking the time spending extra time with my son.
Nice. Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So I wanted to have you on because I wanted to talk about your whole hoops journey and just go through that little timeline. So let's bring it back a little bit. When was your first memory of the game of basketball, and when did you fall in love with it?
First memory, I think I fell in love with the game at like a real young age. I was playing since I was like 3, but first memory, that's a tough one, bro. I've been doing this for a minute. First memory.
What was that first game or something that you were like, oh, okay, I like this?
Probably like 8th grade. Probably like 8th grade going into 9th grade. It's funny because when I first was going to Forrest Hills, how most times coaches recruit you. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really into I was into basketball, but I wasn't as highly sought after probably till like 9th grade. But I actually called my high school coach. I knew that they was playing in the same conference against Cardozo and the bigger schools. So basically wanted to make a lane for myself, and it worked out. I went to Forest Hills and had a good career there.
Yeah. I mean, Queens basketball is definitely big time. Those rivalries.
Definitely when I was playing in high school, but
yeah, that's crazy. So when was you first realize that okay, I could play a little bit. I'm actually good at this. When was that first realization?
I think probably like 10th grade. I was a starter on varsity. I just had a coming out part. I think we played John Brown. I had 23 points, something like that. That was probably the first game for me in high school. That really was I could really, really lock in. Let me focus. But I always worked out though. I always was focused, but that was the first game. I was like, all right, damn, it's really working. I'm like, all right.
Okay. Well, so you go to Forest Hills. Was that always the plan to go to Forest Hills High School, or was there any other options?
Coming out of junior high school, I didn't really have too many options. I didn't want to go to Cardozo because everybody was going there.
Yeah.
I wasn't really fond of anywhere else. And I knew, like I said, they played the same schools and stuff, so it was pretty much it. Wasn't a hard decision for me. I didn't have a bunch of options to go to high school to begin with, but. I didn't stay there. I went to Notre Dame prep to finish out though. We was number 2 in the country.
Nice. I remember in high school I went against Cardozo in a preseason game and they took it to us.
Got them out of there. That's our rival. We got them out of there. We got them out of there for sure.
Yeah, because I used to play for Tottenville in Staten Island, and so this is 2003, 2004. Okay. So.
Way before me.
We had a preseason game, just getting a warm up, and I believe I could be wrong, but I believe it was Cardozo, and they came. You
remember the Clario old dude with the white shirt tucked in, with the shirt tucked in?
I think so. Yeah, and I think they came to us for a preseason game scrimmage, and they tore us up. They tore us up. That's when I knew. I was like, yo, we're gonna have a long season. We're gonna have a long season. We had a miserable season. And I was just a freshman. But we were like, yo,
it's rough. Everybody Giants.
Oh, Giants. And I was considered a big man.
Oh wow.
I was considered a big man. So I was playing against kids from Staten Island. I'm like, oh, I can handle that. And then we go outside of the borough, and I was like, going against
the point guard. 6'9".
Yeah, the point guard 6'4". I'm like, Coach Coach is like, box out. I'm like, he's 6'8". You know, I'm like, Coach, I can only do so much. I'm only 5'11" at the time. You know, I'm like, Coach, like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm doing everything I can. He's just tall. You're not grabbing rebounds. I mean, Coach, let's be real.
PSAL probably the only place in basketball in the world you could be a 6'1" center and dominate though.
Like I went through some. Coach would get mad. I'm like, Coach, let's be real. I'm the smallest big man in the whole city, and I'm doing everything I can, and like you're not helping me. you know, because originally we had our starting center, failed. Our whole team failed out.
That sounds common. PSAL, that don't sound too uncommon.
Yeah. So the whole team, like because we originally had a good squad, and then everyone failed out. Like I was gonna come off the bench and be like just guard everyone. Like that was my thing, and I was ready for that. Then and then they're like, no, you're gonna be our starting center. I was like, oh, come on, Coach. Like I've seen some of these dudes. Like, I've been scouring. Like, I'm like, all right, whatever. I mean, I'm playing, so I'll take it.
On the court,
Yeah, I'm like, don't it's gonna be some long days.
Come get every rebound though.
Yeah, I did what I could, but I remember playing against Cardozo, and that was like the first moment, my first like, it's different outside of Staten Island, like it's definitely different,
I played McKee, Staten Island Tech. I think that they from Staten Island, right?
Yeah. They're two school. Their basketball, their sports was combined. It was McKee and Staten, like you said, Staten Island Tech. They combined because they didn't have enough for each school, so they just put them together.
Yeah, that was the only Staten Island team I played in high school. But we played McKee, Staten Island Tech. I think I played them like a tournament, probably like my junior year.
Yeah. They were all right. I know, like Curtis High School.
I think. Wait. No, I didn't play Curtis, but I know
because Curtis had a bunch of dudes, like their point guards were like 6'3", and their centers were like 6'8". Like they had legit size.
Played, who went there? Damn, somebody went there. I forgot who went there. Damn, off the name. Oh, Halil Kanasevic. He ended up going to Temple. He was there when I was in high school. I think that's what I played against in high school. Yeah.
That was definitely it was definitely different when I had to play against dudes outside of the Staten Island, because it's definitely different once you.
So you held your own a little bit though.
I did what I could. I just boxed out like crazy and just say like I'm just like, Coach. Like I remember I'll tell you this, first real game. So hyped. First game, it's high school, right? Freshman year, getting ready. Like, even though we're getting blown out in preseason games, like, all right, it's regular. We're getting regular season. First game's against Curtis High School.
First game that count.
First game that counts. So like, whatever. Those games don't really count. Whatever, right? We're still trying to get used to each other, right? First game against Curtis High School, we get blitzed. Full court press from the tip. Full court press, and we're like, yo, what's going on right now? I remember this game so vividly, and it's been like 15, 16 years, but they blitzed us off the jump. We were down 40 at a half, and I'm looking at my guys, I'm like, oh,
you supposed to never repeat that story.
yeah, but I'm like, yo, this is different. Like, they came out and blitzed us. It was a rough season for us.
Experience though. You played over 4 years?
No. I only played that 1 year because I was undersized.
Yeah,
I was undersized, so they didn't really, the coaching there. I always had issues with the coaching and how they handle stuff there, but they didn't appreciate me and what I could do. I was averaging a double and stuff, like block. I was steals and all that, but they just, they so different. So but that's my story. So how was the competition like once you got to Forest Hills and just playing against all these schools?
We was playing. I mean, we was top 10 in the city. Top 5 at the point. We was playing against everybody though. My non-conference, we was playing like Lincoln, boys and girls, top schools. We was holding our own fairly well. And in Queens, we won the Queensboro championship against Cardozo actually. So we was probably the best team in Queens that year. Public school. Once I left Forest Hills, but competition level was definitely high. Definitely. And Queens in general, because we played a lot of Catholic schools as well. It was pretty dope.
How was those matchup against Lincoln? Because we all know Lincoln High School. You think Sebastian Telfair, you think Stephon Marbury, Lance Stevenson. I mean, they got some.
Had Lance. Yeah, we played them when they had Lance.
Lance. So how was those matchups?
It got a little tricky, but I mean, we held our own. It got a little tricky. I think we lost by like 11. We played Lincoln, but it was a good game.
How was that atmosphere?
It was crazy. All our high school games though, like especially in Forest Hills, like all our high school games is like packed. That's one thing I can say. Like Forest Hills games is crazy. Like you always get a crowd. You gotta perform. Mm-hmm. It was definitely a dope experience in high school.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to a game right before. Obviously, everything had gone down. I was gonna go to a game, but I didn't wind up getting to go. But I wanted to go just to experience it because I always heard about it. I forgot who they were playing, but I went
to a game last season when I came back from training last year. I went to like a game. My head coach is coaching there now again. Ben Chapman. So that's who coached me in high school. So he's back at the head coach there now.
Awesome. All right. So you obviously played, your career at Forrest Hills High School. But then you said you go to Notre Dame, go to a prep school. How was that transition from going to Forrest Hills to Notre Dame?
That was just a different ball game. That was like the NBA, like the matchups, everything. I mean, everybody was like highly touted. But we was number 2 in the country when I went there. I think my first like 2 games I actually didn't play. I didn't play. And I was just so frustrated. Like, oh, I'm done with this. I want to leave. I just want to go to college already. I'm done. I don't want to. Like, I'm not having fun. And I just locked in. That was probably one of the transition years for me. I just locked in. I ended up starting on that team, averaging like 18. We was playing like Will Barton.
Ooh.
We was playing a bunch of dudes. We playing like South Kent, Notre Dame Prep. You hear about all of these schools, but playing everybody. It was a learning curve for me. It's just a separation for me, but it definitely helped me in my career because I just made me want to put in extra work. I mean, obviously, because I'm used to being the man on where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
It was something like kind of new for me, but it transitioned well. Everything worked itself out. But yeah, it was definitely tough to start out. Because I guess I wasn't the man when I went there, So I had to really learn, like, all right, damn, like there's more to this. I gotta put in extra work now. I thought I had. Definitely a learning experience.
So you just mentioned like you go from being the man and now you have to take a step back. And I don't think people realize.
And everybody's the man.
Yeah.
The man at that point. So it's a little different.
Yeah. So you go from being the man and now you're just you got to work. Like you got to work extra and all that. I don't think people realize how tough an adjustment that could be. Because I've talked to a lot of guys.
At every level too.
Yeah. Exactly. And I've talked to so many guys that like been in that, like they're averaging 30 in high school. Then they go to college that first year and they're like, whoa, like I was the dude in high school. Now I'm just, hey, they don't care that I'm a 3-4 star recruit. Yeah. I got to work, they're not going to just give it to me, So how long did it take you to realize that like, all right, I got to work. I just can't assume I'm going to be given stuff just because I did all these accolades in high school.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me, because I'm a scorer, I'm a shooter. The biggest thing for me is just like finding my niche with the guys that we already had. So basically, a lot of talent. Like I had 13 players and 12 of us went Division I. So my prep team was crazy.
That's talent.
I basically just had to find where I found my shots at, find where I could be of value to the team and different things that I could do. But it was like the first 3 games. I think we played like what did we play the first 2 games? Play like the Army or something like that. They have like a JV team. When I was in prep, we played them. Guys are considered being like supposed to be sophomores, so we playing a little bit up. But I didn't really play. I didn't get any. I forgot. I don't think I played at all. Honestly, the first 2 games. Then the third game, I forgot what happened. I think I just got my number called, and I think I hit like 7 threes that game. And then after that, it was just like going forward. Obviously I still had to work, but a little bit easier. I was able to find my niche, find my spots where I could find shots at. Just learn to play without the ball as opposed to, always getting the ball, having the ball in your possession. In your hands. But
what did you learn those first 2 games not playing, sitting on the bench? What did you learn the most from those 2 games that applied to when you finally got your number called?
Well, the first game, I feel like this is me like having to grow up. because obviously it was a different experience. I've never experienced that in basketball, like coming up. So it's just all new to me. So it's pretty much for me learning. Like, damn, like, all right, damn, I might not. I gotta grow up now. I can't. Maybe I'm not the man everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, all right, what can you do differently? And what are you gonna do? It's like make or break you. Like, it's either you gonna quit, you gonna give in, or you gonna work harder. So that's what I really learned from it, and it took my game definitely to another level. It was challenging.
Yeah. So, you don't play the first 2 games, you get your number called, and then it seems like you finally start gelling. When was that moment that you started finally feeling your comfort level, once you got to Notre Dame?
It was like a burden off my back. More schools started to contact me. I started to get more offers, more calls. And I just learned a lot about the game that year, like just different little things. I ran through a system my whole life, like in like the plays that we run at Forrest Hills and stuff. But for me, it was like learning, all right, then you gotta play this way, different screens, different. I mean, just what's the word I want to use? Just different vocabulary of the game, like learning different things of the game, and all right, this is called this, and you got pin downs, and you got to come over here and run like just different, just learning. That program was ran like a Division I program, so it was definitely preparing me for the next level where I'll ultimately go.
So you're balling, right? You're balling, and you're finally getting some offers. When did you start? When did you start realize? All right, I got to figure out where I want to go and play. For the next how many years? When was that? When did you start getting those offers?
To start out, I had very high interest. The schools that would offer me were like University of Maine. A lot of NEC schools. I had some American East love. And then I had a few HBCU schools. So for me, it was just basically finding out like where I'll be able to play at, what complements my game, because I always had a dream of, playing basketball for a living. So it's like, who would help me get there, and what would be the best like basic situation for me, and I had to pick that out. But I actually didn't go straight to Division I program. I had to go to junior college. Yeah, I had to go to junior college. So I ended up going to Monroe Community College for like 2 years.
Bronx, right?
No, I went to the one in New Rochelle. I mean, not New. I went to the one in Rochester, New York.
Okay, gotcha.
I went to the one in Rochester, New York.
So how was that going to, thinking that, all right, maybe, everyone's roots differ, right?
Yeah.
So this is the path. So how was that transition for you to know, all right, this is maybe the path I got to go through to eventually get to where I want to be?
I mean, everybody, I work hard. So, I'm never gonna, it's not gonna be a situation where, all right, this doesn't work out for me, I'm gonna stop working. So, I always pride myself on just working, outworking everybody. That's why I was able to get better. Going to junior college, it wasn't actually hard, like basketball wise. It was basically just you gotta be different to get through JUCO, because the mindset and the mental in JUCO is just like, it's just cutthroat in JUCO. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I went to a JUCO, and a lot of guys who were at like originally like a D1s, like, and had to go to JUCO, and I would see like there were some guys that just couldn't, like, they're like, man, I was at Syracuse, I was at St. John's, I was at Marquette. I think one kid was at like Florida, and like to go to Florida, University of Florida, and then have to go to a little JUCO in a building. Like, my school was a building. Like, it was just like a 2-floor building, that was attached to a bunch in the city. And like, that's a huge adjustment,
That's different.
That's different. Like, so how did you handle all that?
For me, it was mostly like the living, just the living. Because I went to school in Rochester, and it was like snow every other day. It was crazy out there, like differently, like cold differently. It's a funny story though. I'm gonna get into that when we get down the line of my career. But it was cold. You gotta get up earlier. You gotta practice at this time, and you gotta stay basically on a schedule. But the basketball, I started since I was a freshman. I was averaging like 20 as a freshman. So like the basketball wasn't really hard. The basketball aspect, I just had to learn just the stuff that go along with basketball. Just having to overcome. All right, damn, it's not nice weather every day. Nobody can wake you up. Mommy not gonna wake you up every morning. You you gotta be a man now. So that was a separation for me, just having to take on different responsibilities, like life responsibilities I wasn't like used to taking on.
In the back, are you still thinking like, all right, I'm hooping, you're thinking about, where I'm gonna eventually go? Is that still in your head? Or are you just like, all right, let me just focus on what's in front of me right now. Let me just obtain, let me finish this, and then whatever happens.
I mean, going like even coming out of high school, going into pick a college before JUCO, it's like the mental thing. Like all basketball players feel me, understand. It's like you start over again. So when you're in 8th grade trying to get into 9th grade, you like
this level, yeah.
Like damn, I've been a man here. Like what I'm gonna do now. So it's just like every level is like damn, you gotta raise your game to another level, another standard, and that's pretty much for me. That's what it was. Just like, all right, damn, I know after this, I'm a man now, but after this, like, what I'm gonna do next year? So it's always on the back of my head, and it's like, it's crazy though. Like, it had your mind doing different stuff, like because you want best for yourself, and the way basketball works is like the politics in it is like crazy. So there's no like basically there's no guarantee of your future. So you gotta play with that on your mind, but as long as you put the work in, though, it always works itself out.
So when you're figuring out where you want to play, what are the things that you're looking for? Obviously you want to play, but there's more to it, right? That you got to be able to be somewhere that you're comfortable in. The coaching, you have to know the coaching, because how many times have we seen? I mean, I'm sure you've seen this a bunch of times where kids pick a college and then the coach gets fired, and now the whole staff changes, everything changes around them, and now the new coach, that's not their guy, and that then you have to transfer, and the transfer rules. So what's in your mind when you're thinking about, all right, this is the school I want to go to?
For me, it's big for me. Like I don't need to go to like I'm big on like making a way for myself. So let's just say in Norfolk State, I'll give you a team, right? Let's just say they're in the same conference, and it might be a school here that's offering me. This is my mental going into picking a school. If they're playing the same school, I'm still gonna get the same. What's the word? What's the word? I'm still gonna be able to play the same schools. I'm still gonna be able to. We still be playing the same conference, so we're still gonna get the same. It's gonna be the same talent level. So for me, I'm not really big on going somewhere where it's a bunch of people that's already doing like that have a set situation. I wanted to go somewhere where basically it wouldn't be my situation, but it'll be like I'll play a big part in it. Coming in when I did, so that was really big for me. Like what program needs, and does it fit my game, and will I fit with the players that are already there, players that are coming in, so I could better further my career. But I definitely was just trying to factor in everything because I didn't want to make the wrong decision. Because coming out of JUCO, I went from having 4 years to having 2 now. So you got to make a quicker decision, and hopefully it's the best one. It don't work out all the time, but I mean, hopefully it's the best decision. It's kind of JUCO life is kind of hard. It's kind of determined itself. It's kind of got a mind of its own. You don't know what's gonna happen in junior college, but
oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, I went to a JUCO, and I saw the athletes, the football players, and the basketball players, and they were just like, damn, like this it's different. Like it could beat people, but it could get to you. It could beat you up. Like you could make the best of it. I've seen dudes that like, hey, I'm just gonna focus because it's a changing, Greg. Because like you said before, there's dudes that played high level D1, and then for whatever reason, this is the path they had to go, and they either make the best of it and figure out, all right, how do I get back to playing D1 or high level college football or basketball, or you just sink, and then now you're just stuck in the mud. So like it could break you in a little bit when you have to go that route. I've seen it.
I think my freshman year, I was playing like a 27-year-old guard. He's telling me he had kids. He's telling me he had kids and all types. Yeah. Like, damn, bro, I'm 19, 18 years old. Sheesh.
Yeah. That's crazy. I remember this one dude. There was a white Jamaican. He must have been like 6'9". Like he was built.
He probably jumped too. He probably could jump.
He was just massive. Like I don't know how they found it, but I remember him vividly. Like he was 6'9". But then I would talk to the other kids, other dudes on the team, like, oh, he's trash.
Yeah, there's a lot of those like that.
He's just a big dude, and they're just trying to see if they could do something. But he just wasn't good.
What school is this?
What?
What school was this?
I went to Globe Institute of Technology in the
Globe.
city.
Okay, I heard
Yeah, it's not there no more. I think
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it closed down a few years ago, but I went there around 2008 to like 10.
Okay.
You know, and I would see like the stories I would hear, and just like the people that would come in and out, like they went to this school. I'm like, whoa, like how'd you get up
Coaches
here?
ain't gonna give you that much. They ain't gonna babysit you in like in high school. So a JUCO coach, he not feeling you. Because it's a business. It definitely becomes a business going into college. It's a business at the end of the day. So coaches cutthroat.
Coaches were grimy. Like I would see the coaches in and out, and they're like, "Yo, like you need to get your shit together." Blah blah blah. Like they would just get in because like I don't care if you went to this such and such school. Like you here now. Like let's make the best of it. And just it was wild. I saw a lot of stuff.
JUCO's a little different, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I tell kids you can make it in JUCO. You good. You good anywhere. Whatever you want to do. Like JUCO's tough. JUCO's different.
Yep. It can make or break you. It can make or break you. It's because it's like I said, it's humbling. It's humbling for a lot of dudes. So some dudes could just sink and just like they just never get out of that. They're just so stuck in like, man, I dropped. I was at A+ facilities, this such and such. And then now I'm in this little classrooms that's 2 floors. It could.
That's how my prep school was. We had like a classroom in the building. Prep school was fun to work out all day. Work out, go to class. Simple.
Yeah, that's crazy. So how did you come about Coppin State? How did you come with that selection to go there?
I was in junior college. They were recruiting me. They were recruiting me like heavily. And I mean, I was always fond, like, I used to hear HBCU stories. So I just want to really do something a little different, to go to a historically Black school and, the lifestyle, just everything. I wanted to be a part of that and I wanted to experience it. So it wasn't like a hard decision on going there. And the coach, the coaches, they like my game. It fit the system that we was trying to run. So it panned itself out.
So how big of an adjustment was that now? Because like you said, there's always adjustments, right? 8th grade to high school to prep school to junior college, and now you're going to to Coppin State. How was that adjustment?
Biggest adjustment for me, was getting up. Actually, because it's right. You got 5 a.m. You got class, and you got to worry about your academics now. Now it's not like JUCO where the work is a little bit tougher and it's a little bit different. You got to balance like everything, and then being at Coppin, our non-conference was like crazy. So we was really never in class. We was in class for like 40% of the time, I want to say. Excuse me. We was in class for about 40% of the time. So we'd be traveling on the road, and you got to get this assignment done. You got this test coming up, and we got to we got to shoot around this time. Now we got to practice 4 hours, and it's just that was the biggest adjustment. As far as playing, I had to get used to the physicality of the game. Division I game. Division I game is like now you got real bigs, and like you said, coming in from you used to being maybe like 6'7" is the norm, or 6'5" is the norm. Now you got our big man is like 6'4". We playing against like 6'9", so that's the separation from like a low Division I to like a high major Division I. Is basically the big men. They got real bigs, like 6'9", 7 foot. So, but as far as the game, I just had to get used to sets, running sets. Every level is different sets, better defense, guys are more athletic. So for me, it was really like just getting used to like finding my niche in that system. Just like coming into JUCO, but I'm a shooter, so I always like found my way. Like I always a fit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about basically finding my shots. And again, like going from somewhere where you was just a man in prep, but from not being a man to now, now we all a man. Now what we gonna do? How we gonna win? So it was a little tough, bro. And our schedule was like it was no joke. Like it wasn't nothing to play with. I might have had Victor Oladipo on a Monday, then we had Louisville on the Wednesday, and Kentucky. We played Louisville when they was number 1 in the country. I don't know if you remember the year. And they had like
when they won the Natty. Is that the year they around that time when they won the national championship?
They had Zella, Oladipo. Did they win?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. That was a year. So we actually up in the first half against them. We up by like 13 in the first half. We up. We winning. I think we scored. Call the timeout. I feel the ground shake. I feeling the whole arena shake. We up. Start out my point guard at the time. My point guard like 5'8". My point guard like 5'8". They put Oladipo. They put a full court press. Oladipo at the top. Then you got Zeller. You got Wofford. Wofford like 6'8". They on the wings. It was just good night after that. He couldn't see over the press. It was a bad night, but that just showed me the difference of level. You know, USC was my first Division I game. I had about 14 points. I played well, you know. But playing those big non-conference games is like basically really prepared me for what was gonna happen my junior year at Coppin. Cause the schedule was like tough. You know, played Indiana, play everybody. Any big name school you could think of. We played like.
Because I always see Coppin State. Like I watched them play Duke this year. Like I think they played Duke, and they played them good. Like
conference, yeah, they did. That was a very.
They played them really good.
Definitely.
They had a couple guys that were like hoop. I forgot the dude's name, but there was one dude that was like really impressed me. Like he was going off.
Lefty, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. He was happy. So I always, you guys are always playing like. You know, you're not afraid to play against those big time schools.
Yep. So we played against a lot of like big schools, and it helped me going into conference play a lot tremendously that year. Yeah, my first year there.
So you said you're a shooter. So who guys that you try to emulate your game after?
I learn from I take stuff from everybody. My favorite player is Kobe, but I take stuff from everybody. Kobe. I watch a lot of Dame Lillard. I like Dame Lillard. But I try to learn. You know, I can learn from somebody younger than me. I can learn from somebody older. I just try to take little aspects of everything that I like. Try to put it towards my game.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Kobe. That's still I still can't believe that we're approaching the year of
another one.
Nah, definitely not. Like it still don't feel real. Like it still doesn't feel real. That's it. What's your favorite Kobe moment?
Favorite Kobe moment.
I mean, there's a bunch. I mean,
might be the 60 on the walk-off. That was gangster.
That's
gangster. 60 on the walk-off was gangster. 81 was crazy. Probably definitely on the walk-off. 60. That was.
You know what's crazy about that 60 game is that I don't know if you remember, he was on TNT with Shaq and all them. And Shaq, I think right before they
Shaq told him to get 40 or something like that.
He said, "Yo, give me 50." And Kobe's like, "Nah, I can't do that." Like, and that's what's crazy because like he gives you one to give you 60 plus. Like, and like just even though like obviously
and the dub.
Yeah, and because they were losing by like, and Utah needed that win, I think, to get in the playoffs. So Utah was playing for something. They weren't just like going to let Kobe be Kobe. Like they needed that win. So the fact that he can't, even though he took a whole bunch of shots, but who cares? Like it's your last game. You take all the shots you want. Like who cares? But the fact that he brought the team back to win the game, and he's hitting everything. Like, and just the fact that like the Shaq is like, "Yo, I need 50." He's like, "Nah, I can't do that. I'll give you 60. I'll give you 60. I think that's the most impressive thing about that is that he just, hey, I'm gonna end it my way. I don't care about the young guys getting reps. Hey, this is my day. I'm gonna take over. And they won. I think that's what Kobe was probably most proud about. Not that he got the 60.
His last game was a win.
That he got the dub at last game because Kobe just cared about winning and all that. So, I mean that honestly, I think that might be number one for me too because that was the most entertaining game I've seen in a long time. Everyone was watching that. It was must.
81 was crazy too though.
Yeah,
81 points is different.
Because they were losing too by big. They were losing by like I think double digits in that game too. And he
like 21, yeah.
Yeah, they were getting. So I mean, we could talk hours about Kobe moments because it's just endless. It really is. All right, so let's go. So Coppin State, so you graduate and all that. What's the plan now after you graduate?
Coppin, plan once I graduate, I was trying to see who I could work out for, where I would end up. Because at Coppin, I played my junior year was like I had a tremendous junior year. So I was hearing from like different teams and stuff like that. But my junior year, it just clicked. Like my junior year, it just clicked for me. So I went for maybe averaging like 7 a game. I want to say going into like the first like 4 games of my Division I career. To like I think we played South Carolina State actually. We played South Carolina State at home. I'll never forget that game. And I had like 20 that game. I hit like 4 threes, but it was just like, all right, damn, I could do this. So I literally went on a stretch for like 2 months. Literally, I averaged like 26 for like 2 months straight. Like I had like
That's dope. That's
yeah,
impressive.
I broke the school record against A&T. I had 11 for like 14 from three. Then like the next game I had like 8. I had like 7 after that, like 6. So it was just I balanced up and down. But I was on fire. I was going crazy. My junior year was crazy, definitely. So leading into my senior year, I was just basically trying to figure out like, all right, whether it's gonna be overseas or whether it's gonna be, the G League to try to see. But it comes to a politics game. It's a politics game with that. So coming out of college, it really tested my faith and myself in the game. Because I didn't have much offers coming out of college, like right out of college off the rip. Um, then I got hurt. I finally was talking to a team in Argentina,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm gonna sign. This is probably like October. I'm about to sign finally. Because everybody signs in like August, so I'm like, damn, I'm at the house still. I'm here still. All my friends
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing, they're going places. So literally like 2 days before I'm about to sign, I break my hand. That was just crazy. I broke my hand. So now I'm back at square one. I'm on the treadmill, but like, I work hard. I'm on the treadmill with
Mm-hmm.
my casting, I'm just trying to stay prepared. And then I got an offer to play in Kosovo, which is like right outside Germany. I got an offer to play there. Um, that was my first offer to play. I didn't stay there. But my time there worked. It was good. It was worth it. My first game I had 27 as a pro. So I just
That's
took steps towards. But overseas, we could talk about that all day. Overseas is crazy. There's nothing more cutthroat than overseas. Like there's nothing
yeah.
in the world more cutthroat than overseas. I don't care what level of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Overseas, you can make it overseas. You can make it anywhere. Like with basketball, because it's like you can have 30 today, and if you have 7 tomorrow, like you the worst. You the public enemy number one. Like it's crazy. Like it's crazy. It's a big business.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just
I
overseas.
mean, that adjustment, because that's not just like levels of like, going from eighth grade to high. That's
Yeah,
going to a different country, learning a whole different culture,
language barrier, everything.
yeah.
Um, it's just it was just. I mean, at this point, I'm used to being away from home, so it wasn't really much that, and I was just excited to like just damn, I'm a pro now. Like, wow, I did it. I'm a pro now.
Mm-hmm.
But I was never too content. But things ain't work out. My first team, like financially,
Mm-hmm.
financial aspects, some stuff I can't talk about, but like
Yeah.
some financial stuff where the team wasn't taking care of their obligations. So I ended up going to Spain. So I was there for about 2 months. Then I
So
had
do
like
you go from Germany, then you go to Spain, or you come back to the States and then
I go from
figure out
Germany.
everything, and then you go
I
to
leave
Spain?
Germany to go to Spain, straight
Okay.
from straight from
Okay.
straight from Germany. I signed, and I was out like the next day. So Spain, Spain is a much better experience as far as like living. It's not as cold because when I was in Kosovo, I'm literally in the gym with like a beanie, a hoodie,
Oh,
sweats, and I'm still sweating. Like I'm still cold. Like you can see the cold coming off of my body.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
being a shooter, having to shoot in that, and I was
yeah,
just learning. But I had to. I figure it out. You want to get paid, or if not, you go home. It's
yeah.
simple. Like that's
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But Spain's so dope. The weather, the food, the hospitality they show, like everything. Spain was definitely a dope experience. I was actually in Spain for a year and a half. I was in
Oh,
Spain for a year and a half. Yeah. And then what did I end up going after Spain? I ended up going to play in Colombia for the first time in the Direct TV League. I went to play there. Yeah, I played in a few places, but right after Spain, I ended up playing there. From there, after I went to Spain, I played in. Damn, where did I go after Spain? Oh, I played in Romania.
hmm
It's a country in Europe. They speak a lot of English. Romania was dope. after Romania, I played in Bolivia for a short period of time. Then I went back to Colombia again. Then I just finished recently. I was in China right before all of the COVID.
Oh wow!
I traveled a few places so
Travel,
far.
you traveling the world, man. I mean, that's a lot of different experience, and I think what's the thing you've learned most from just your traveling, you traveling abroad from all these different
Different
places.
languages, like Spanish. I learned Spanish. I actually studied Spanish while I was there. I learned, you gotta take a little bit from everywhere, like to be able to learn. And for me, just because I don't eat any meat. I don't eat certain foods and stuff. So
Hmm.
for me, you gotta know, like, all right, I want this. So you gotta know what to say. You gotta learn something new from everywhere.
Hmm.
Um, but that was the biggest, like, learning. The language barrier is crazy, but I mean, it's Americans everywhere. People speak English everywhere, so it's difficult. But if not English, they speak a little bit enough to help you get by. Like.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah,
That's crazy. Like, and that's dope that you were able to just travel all these places and learn.
also that was probably the dopest experience, bringing my son with me overseas.
And that probably made everything a little bit more easier that you have that comfort, that someone that you're there with you, you're not just at it alone, because I'm sure that could be that's also an issue too. Like you go to a different country and you're by yourself, like
A lot of downtime. So the thing I tell you about overseas is the Wi-Fi and the food. If you don't got Wi-Fi, it's over.
That's
Wi-Fi.
crazy that you say that, because I think I talking to a Daniel Artest, and he had mentioned that too. Like, yeah, that's the food and
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
That's
Like,
attached from the world. No Wi-Fi, and I'm in West. It's 6 hours, so when I'm in Europe, 6 hour time difference.
oh,
So
the time zone too. Yeah, it's
6
completely
p.m.
like.
It's 6 p.m. Everybody at the home. It's midnight. You know what I'm saying? So it's 6 a.m. is midnight. So everybody going to sleep. You just waking up. So when you about to go to sleep, everybody getting up for the day, or they day just getting started. So, and then getting people to watch the game, they gotta be up watching the game at like 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely different. Definitely.
That's crazy. Yeah, but that's dope that you were able to at least bring your son and have that experience. I'm sure he was probably like, what's going on, this different environment, like,
He's young, still young, baby, Philly, a baby. So he don't know much, but it's good to have the experience. I want him to be able to experience like everything. I mean, from a young age that I'm able to, so he can have so much more for himself.
Mhm. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I having him in the gym with me, like here and start having the gym with me, So I'm trying to gradually, put the game on him. Whatever he decide to do is what he decide to do. But I'm definitely gonna throw the game at him, and I definitely want him to learn at a young age.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm trying to do with my son too. Is trying to, because he's still trying to figure out how to get the game, because he's still like not really
The game
into
is
it
definitely
yet.
evolving, man. I see like 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, working out the stuff that we doing now. So it's definitely
Yeah.
an aspect coming from. When I was working out, working out like at younger stages was like go elbow to elbow catch. Now you get all different moves down packed, and definitely learning like much younger than learning. Like it's
Yeah.
definitely evolving. It's evolving a lot.
For sure. And the information is right. I mean, YouTube. That's all you need, right?
So
It's
you
we
got
didn't
type in whoever you want, whoever you trying to
exactly.
look at, just type the name in.
Exactly. We didn't have that growing up. We had to figure out how to do it ourselves, or and now it's just you go put on YouTube. Hey, you can just put that on a screen and just learn, everything right at the young age.
Social media itself is just crazy now. Like
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, like if we had Instagram when we was in high school, it's crazy. It'd have been
It
Instagram
was,
like crazy.
yeah, and just highlights, right? We live in the highlight world, like, and I'm sure you've seen that, like, just like you just see highlights and you're like, all right, can you do anything else that's like actually basketball? Like, it's cool to dunk, like, obviously that's dope, and I've seen that a lot, and I've always talked about that with a lot of people, like, obviously we live in the social media era where it's just highlights, dunks, flashy passes, but it's like, fundamentals.
It's a lot. A lot of kids are athletic, but New York definitely got a lot. New York for itself definitely got a lot of young talent, though, for sure, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely have a young talent.
Yeah, yes, definitely for sure. And we got to keep the New York dudes in New York too. That's the thing. A lot of the New York, like you look at the NBA, and I've talked about this with guys. Like a lot of the New Yorkers, they're going to different schools. They're going to Connecticut. They're going, Maryland. They're going all over. They're not staying in New York City yet. They're going to Jersey. Like Jersey's kind of, their game. How they've taken over, like a little bit as being like in the tri-state area. So like,
there's definitely a lot going on for people. I mean, now with COVID, it's like I feel so bad for the high school kids. It's crazy. But it's
especially in New York City with all the protocols and how restricted you are in New York City.
Yeah, but a lot of New York got like a lot of people that I work out with, like BG. I'm not familiar. It's a few trainers in New York. Justin Bright, Humble Development. They do a lot of different things for the kids. Like Coach Book, like for myself, like where we able to go and work out every morning with like different pros, and I mean they have like skills academies. Like Isaiah Whitehead, they got the skills academy. For the high school kids, for the younger kids, so they definitely trying to give them more access to the game than we had, because we come from the era where we could go work out in the park until this time, or it's just, the world is a little different now, so they're giving them a platform, to help bring New York City basketball back, because we definitely supposed to be a different place on the map, but definitely working coming back there for sure.
Sure, you definitely got to get it back, because it feels like it's the cycle where it's
right. I feel like it started with the Knicks, man.
Man, the Knicks, man.
I feel like if the Knicks is winning, everything in the
world. Are you a Knicks fan?
No, I'm not actually.
Good. It's probably better for your health. I mean, I'm a Knicks fan, and I saw my hairline the last 20 years just fade back because of like it's stressful with them. But you kind of right. Like if the Knicks, I think people, if the Knicks were relevant as far as like on the court, like not off the court BS, I think you probably see more people want to stay play for like St. John's and all that, and preach, but the Knicks have not been that haven't been relevant for a while. So that's I think that's a little bit right. New York City basketball's trying to take a little step back. So I think if the Knicks get back to that, to being that team, I think you could see New York City get back to that level of basketball, because it seems like in the 90s and like the early 2000s, New York City basketball
that was a different era though. That was a different era.
Different. And like New York City basketball was like there was no second. Like you could talk California, Florida, Texas,
anything, any level. That's
New York City basketball was like elite. Now it's kind of taken a little step back, and the Knicks not being, I think that hurts. But if the Knicks could somehow get back to being relevant, I think that helps.
They faded the city in their hands.
Yeah. Because Brooklyn, I mean, you see, how'd you feel about James Harden?
I talk about Brooklyn. We never got Brooklyn a little. They very dangerous.
How do you feel about Harden coming to Brooklyn now, and how lethal? How do you think that works?
No,
with three guys who are really like the top 20 guys in usage rate. How do you think that works?
I personally feel like it's gonna work, only for the simple fact that they're not babies in their career anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like they all want to win. And I feel like maybe the off the court stuff was so they all could be together. Nobody knows.
I was thinking that. I'm like, all this stuff is just like, I don't know. How come suddenly Kyrie wants to play now?
I feel like they definitely gonna gel together for sure. So many different weapons, bro. It's like I feel like they one big away from like it's no conversation. Like there's no conversation. They get one more big. It's like over. DeAndre Jordan definitely not a slouch. You got, KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. Like, who you can't guard nobody. It's crazy.
I mean, KD's back too.
KD's back. Yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie hurt right now, but when he come back, that's gonna be big. I don't really like the Callis LeVert trade. I don't really like that. Or Allen.
You got to trade something to get some, right? You got to trade something to get something, right?
That's a fact. But it's Jared Allen, real young. He gonna do.
I think that hurts. That hurts more than losing LeVert, because having, like you mentioned, size. Like you still need size in the league. And I think losing Carrick is going to be.
They got DeAndre, but they like one big away. But they tough, bro. They tough.
It's scary. It's scary what they could do. I think James is going to buy in personally. I think he buys it because he wants to be there. He wants to be there. It's a difference, right? He didn't just get traded there and just like whatever. Like no,
that's what makes them so much tougher. They can all create their shot. They can all create their own shot. So It's just as much as if there's enough basketball to go around. To be real with you, that's the only thing that's gonna come. Basketball and ego. If there's enough basketball in their ego, you know. But
I think if they want to make it work, it could work for sure. Like, and they could play that up tempo style. Like they got, who's their head coach? Steve Nash. Who's their assistant coach? D'Antoni. Like they got Amari on staff. Like they played that style, so they could try to implement that fast pace and just run teams out of the gym. Like we can't play. The defense isn't there, but hey,
they had to play a little defense though. They had to play a little defense. That's where it might get a little tricky.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it might. They maybe need to get a dog on defense. But they definitely gonna need help defensively though.
Yeah.
But offensively though, it's like there's no team like I don't care Lakers. No like offensively.
Yeah.
Be on the same team is different.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they'll scour the buyout market once guys gets bought out. They'll scour that, try to find someone that could help.
I mean, they'll get somebody before playoff time for sure.
Yeah. Same way like the Lakers got like Markieff Morris last year, as a buyout guy. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of guys like that they're definitely scouring.
They said LeBron hit the fade. They said LeBron hit the turnaround and all hell broke loose.
Yeah, once he hit that turnaround and did the Steph Curry, the whole league stage, right? Brooklyn's like, nah, we got to trade. We got to trade. Yeah. But I appreciate this conversation. I want to give you one more thing before we sign off.
No problem, bro. Definitely.
I really appreciate you coming on the show, Dre. This was fun.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Andre Armstrong, Nothing But Net Radio on Dash Radio. Before we close this thing out, I want to ask you a few quick questions.
Got you.
Before we get out of here. Who's the best? Who's your top 3 shooting guards of all time?
Top 3 shooting guards of all time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so does Jordan constitute as a shooting guard?
Jordan?
Yeah.
I think he's a shooting.
Definitely MJ. Shooting guards. Damn. James Harden for sure. He got to go down in the books.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, we considering the Mamba a shooting guard?
Yeah.
So I would say for me, it's James Harden. James Harden, one of my favorites. James Harden, Kobe, and Jordan for sure.
So who's the top 3 shooting guards right now?
Top 3 right now?
How about this? Top 3 shooters. Let's go shooters. Top 3 shooters in the league right now.
I mean, Steph, go without saying. Steph for sure.
I think he's in a tier by himself. Like his shooting is
Dame Lillard for sure. Dame Lillard for sure.
Dame Dolly, yep.
Dame, Steph, James Harden, the same 3. I mean, I don't see a better shooter than those 3. Shot makers. Let me say
shot maker.
KD also though. KD for sure. So that one is a little tricky. It's like a toss up. Besides Steph.
Yeah.
James Harden, Damian Lillard, and
KD.
And KD, they in the same boat. But I mean, Steph is like Steph on his own planet.
Yeah, Steph on his own planet. The stuff he revolutionized the game. Like he changed that game. Like once he started doing his thing, like the big became like secondary. Like you don't need that traditional big no more. Now you have to play smaller because you got to try to defend guys.
At any given time, that make it very dangerous. Trust me, I know.
Yep. He definitely changed the game. All right, final one. Who's your Mount Rushmore? Who's on your Mount Rushmore?
All right. LeBron, Kobe, MJ, Magic Johnson. Damn, one more, Magic Johnson.
That's good. That's 4. But if you want to add one more, we can add them on the side. We can add one more if you want to add one more.
No, that's probably my top 4 right there.
That's good. That's not bad.
All time. No bigs. No bigs.
Yeah, it's hard to do like errors and all that. Try to implement
bigs.
That's tough. But man, this was fun, bro. I really appreciate it.
Bro. I appreciate you having me, man. For sure.
No doubt. I know you haven't. You're enjoying your time. And beautiful scenery. I mean, I'm jealous because it's cold out here in New York. Super jealous. But Dre, I appreciate your time, man.
Definitely be in touch, bro.
Definitely, for sure. I appreciate, chopping up me for this last, 50 minutes and just going through your whole career because, I find this stuff fascinating, going through your whole, talking to guys and learning about how they got to where they got. So appreciate you chopping up with me for this last, 50 minutes or so and, continue success with everything you're doing, man. Keep killing it. And,
bro.
Yeah. So before we go off, where can people find you on social media or whatever projects you're doing? Just plug that quick.
Well, I'm about to start a brand. I just got LLC, No Handouts LLC. That's basically like my logo. What I go with, No Handouts. She just described like my career, my life, having to work. So definitely look forward to more stuff from No Handouts. My Instagram is drearmstrong.hl. You can definitely find me. On Facebook, Andre Armstrong. But definitely, I follow back. I ain't like that. I got a lot of good stuff going on. I post a lot of basketball content, different workout drills, and my different experiences on my page.
That's dope. That's dope. All right, man. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on, bro. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for everyone for listening on Nothing But Net Radio channel on Dash Radio, guys. That's Dre Armstrong. I'm Chris LeBron, Off the Ball Pod. And take care, guys. Be kind to each other and be easy, guys.